Hi, my name is David Ford, and I'd like to show you the actual reports you will get when you use KnowTime. To create an Excel report, double-click on the KnowTime icon in the system tray. It looks like this. And this will open the weekly summary. Go to the Tools menu, select Export to Excel here, and this will open a dialog which allows you to pick the personnel and the dates that you'd like to export. Hit OK. This will open an Excel report that's populated with the people and hours that were entered into KnowTime. It'll open to the timesheet, and each tab, as you can see down here, is a different view of the same information, which is the hours, people, and projects that you've entered. So starting with the timesheet, just to get a feel for how these are set up, you'll notice that we have the name of it, a tips. The activity week here is just allowing you to pick a particular week so that you can see the hours entered by person across Sunday through Saturday. You'll have totals along the bottom as well as totals for each person. In addition, down the road, and you'd like to make changes, put your cursor on the name here. We've hidden it in the comments field, the actual field names used by KnowTime behind the scenes in the pivot table. In the tips box over here, there's a couple statements to help you read first time through. One of the things you want to look for in a timesheet is, did everybody enter time? And we can see here that this person did not actually do much more than a half hour's worth of entry this week. Now, if they were out of the office or something like that, that's explainable. If they were in the office and have just forgotten, you can give them a call and ask them to get caught up. Another common error is the 24-hour entry. Let's say you take a day's vacation and you just call it an all-day event in Outlook. Well, that's recorded as 24 hours in KnowTime, which ends up skewing what you really mean to be an 8-hour vacation or work day. The second tab there is the project summary, and this is a straightforward table of the project names and the total hours. Sometimes you may want to summarize things by client. So this will take the client, the project names, and the hours. Maybe you want to look at open projects. And this is the project status field, which is based on the fact that a project, when it's completed, is ended. And if it hasn't completed, it's open. So what are the projects that are open right now, and how many hours have been worked against those open projects? You may want to dig a little deeper and look at the project due dates. The due dates focus on those projects that are open. You can certainly look at all or the completed as well. And you'll see chronologically here, the next due date is 10/11/2010 in this example, the project name and the project purpose. This can help you see what's coming up. You may also want to dig a little deeper into the projects and see what the estimated hours are versus the actual hours logged so far. So here's project name, 16 hours were estimated, 8.5 hours are in this report. You may want to look at a feature called which posts hours, and what posting does in KnowTime is lock the record from inadvertent change. So if you go back to last week and you're absolutely certain you've got your time entered correctly against the right projects, you can post them, and then any changes going forward have to be done at a very administrative level. You can't just willy-nilly, oops, forgot, and change it. And this is handy for folks that bill their time and need basic records that they use to drive their bill exactly match the bill. So here you'll see the project, the hours, the posted hours, which fortunately are exactly the same, and then another little extra piece of information, estimated hours. Weekly posting and billing number is handy for those companies who bill their clients and have an accounting number for a particular project or client. Here we have the project name, and then we've got example billing numbers and posted hours. You can do it by client, you can do it by week. You may want to look at the month. For example, you do monthly billing for a particular client. This report would help you with that. One of the neat things about KnowTime is the ability to dig into the detail of why a project took as long as it did, or how you might do it differently next time, or explaining to someone, gosh, this is the problem when we do this kind of work. What you have with a KnowTime project review report is two parts. The first is the KnowTime project, and we've been focusing on the total hours by project, which is a sum of the individual entries made across time. So for example, this is out of the support at knowtimetracking.com. If you want to read more about this, I recommend going to knowtimetracking.com, support. The project name here, support KnowTime, would be up here. And worked on help file is about an hour, and it turns out that that was right here, 1 hour. So the sum of this is 8.5 hours. Why did this project take 8.5 hours, or how have we spent our time? Well, this is showing us across the last couple months, actually, 10/14 to 1/6, how we've been spending our time as we have noted it in our calendar in each of the individual instances where we were doing a task. Very helpful for recalling the details that are always so easy to forget if we're very busy and working on lots of different things. The Project Progress Daily Report is probably more of a management tool and also maybe perhaps food for thought. It gives you a flavor for how the projects on a team, for example, or projects you're working on have progressed this week. Where did you focus your time, and how did that change across the week? You can also look at the same type of information by week. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, where have we been focusing our time and how has that changed? Or perhaps even take a broader, longer term view and look at by month. And in this case, I've also added the start date and the due date, because some of the things that happen with longer term projects is simply a kind of wait till the last minute and, push with a last minute push that isn't always the best way to finish the project, tends to be the way we do things, and this will help expose that as a way to kind of identify, hey guys, this is what we're doing, let's try not to do it this way. Finally, you can go crazy. This report looks pretty cluttered and seems to have a lot of information on it. This isn't something I'd recommend you jump into right away, but what we recognize with KnowTime is that as the information base grows, the ability to decipher bigger patterns and what we are trying to do strategically emerges. In this particular situation, the customer wanted to look at projects. They had a fair amount of day-to-day counseling with their client, and then they had their internal office time, which was training, vacation, holiday, those types of internally focused meetings and division meetings, manager meetings, things like that. So how that time is spent, these two, counseling and office time, is laid out very specifically here and very specifically here, because the goal of the group was to get a better handle on these sorts of anecdotal, ad hoc, random, interruptive activities and move these off the plate so that there was more time to do projects. And again, because this is a very fast-paced, complex work environment, you can see that counseling takes a lot of different forms, office time takes a lot of forms, and projects takes a lot of forms. And so when we coordinate between 3 or 4 different people, we end up recognizing that people see these things a little differently, and in order to be consistent across a group of people, a report like this is really helpful. Another thing that you use KnowTime for as you build experience with it is just understanding where your time goes and how you can be more productive and efficient. So if a particular project goes bad, here's an explanation of where the time went and how it could be changed. In day-to-day operations with analysts or junior folks on teams, learning to be more productive is often just the insight that a bad estimate goofs up your whole week, or polishing up those points to really make a tight story takes more time. I need to leave more time in my day. Gosh, I spend a lot of time going to meetings not as fully prepared as I should be, which results in multiple meetings. Gosh, if I just got a little bit more focused on preparing for meetings, I would have fewer meetings and more time. Sometimes people are just surprised by how much counseling activity occurs relative to what they think they're working on, which is projects, and that's where it's amazing how reactive my efforts are. Some of the things we have in terms of support tools and ways of getting things done aren't always to date or the best, and when there's problems with those, it can add up, and it's capturing it in no time helps us folk by understanding exactly what those costs are. And that's reporting from KnowTime. I suggest you go to our KnowTimeTracking.com website if you're interested and download the free trial. We have a blog that you can use to read a little bit more about specific situations. And if you're interested in talking further or using this in a team setting and would like some consulting or help, that's what we do too. Thank you for your time.